Welcome back. This is your daily dose of reality check. Whether you're stuck in traffic, hitting the gym, or just winding down, I'm here to spill the hottest tea from your favorite Bravo shows. From the wildest reunions to the quietest social media unfollows, we cover it all. So buckle up, literally, because the drama starts right now.
And we really have a mountain of material to get through today. We're touching on, what, 4 different franchises?
At least, we're going from social media squabbles and authenticity all the way to some really serious federal legal battles.
It's a huge spectrum. And I think the big question that connects all of this is really about transparency. What's the cost of it, and how much performance are we, as the audience, willing to accept before something feels fraudulent?
Exactly. That's the mission. And there's no better place to start that conversation than with the Real Housewives of Potomac, where Ashley Darby is really setting an incredibly high standard for the new women.
She is. She's demanding they deliver what she calls the full alphabet of their lives.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Ashley, probably more than anyone else in that franchise, has put her entire life out there.
Oh, absolutely. The good, the bad, the ugly.
The very, very ugly disintegration of her marriage to Michael, the accusations against him, the separation, the co-parenting, it's all been on camera.
And that history, it gives her a unique moral authority to critique the others. She's using her own public sacrifice as the benchmark.
And she's got 2 new cast members in her sights, right? Stacey Rush and Angel Massey.
Very pointedly, yeah. Let's start with Stacey. Ashley's issue seems to come from the fact that she knew her before the show.
Right. She said she met Stacey eons ago.
Back when Stacey was a traffic reporter. And Ashley's point is that the person she met back then is not quite the same as the person who showed up to film.
What was the specific criticism?
She called her very politician-like, which is so specific, isn't it? It's not just that she's quiet or reserved.
No, it suggests something more calculated, like she's trying to manage her image.
Exactly. That she can skirt a question. That she's too media-trained for a show that, at its core, demands a certain level of raw vulnerability.
So it's basically, you're performing wrong for this format.
You're performing wrong. Ash's conclusion was that Stacey is only giving the show an A to C instead of the full alphabet.
I love that metaphor.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It suggests, she's giving you the basic facts, the easy stuff, but she's holding back all the messy, complicated, interesting details that really make a great housewife.
And if the audience wants the full alphabet, giving them just the first couple of letters is a fast track to being seen as boring. Or worse, fake.
And Ashley was clear. She doesn't dislike Stacey. She just found the lack of openness frustrating.
But the criticism of Angel Massey was, it felt different. It was more fundamental.
It really was. This gets to the absolute heart of the reality TV contract, which is, are you filming your life or are you creating a life to be filmed?
Right. And Angel was facing that exact accusation that she was just renting in the DMV area to get on the show.
And for Ashley, the issue wasn't really the renting itself. It was the pretense. The story that was built around it.
So the narrative versus the reality.
Precisely. Ashley felt Angel was acting like this is where you guys are setting up homes, reconnecting with family, when the actual details were just so murky.
And Ashley said she felt validated later in the season, right?
She did. She said things came out that confirmed her suspicions, which just reinforced this idea that Angel's whole introduction to the group felt a little disingenuous.
And once you're accused of faking your reason for being in a city, that authenticity debate is basically over. You've lost.
You've lost. It creates this huge narrative hole that the cast and the audience will just never stop picking at.
Okay, so moving from that critique.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a moment of, I would say, surprising maturity from Ashley. Her apology to Wendy Bedore.
This was a really interesting move. So the backstory is that the news about Wendy and Eddie Oseffo's legal troubles break, and literally hours later, Ashley was on stage at BravoCon joking about it.
In front of a live audience. Not a great look.
Not at all. And she later admitted that it was probably a little too sensitive at the time, and that she went a little hard.
But the interesting thing was who she apologized to. It wasn't really Wendy.
No, and that's what made it so strategic. She specifically directed the apology to Wendy's children.
Ah.
She said that the kids are old enough now to understand what's going on and to be hurt by public comments like that. So by focusing on the children, she gets to take accountability for crossing a line.
While still keeping her distance from Wendy, who she's actively feuding with.
It's a very clever, calculated PR move, but it also highlights, the real collateral damage of this public life.
And speaking of real serious consequences, we have to pivot to the legal battle facing Wendy and Eddie Osefo. This is so far beyond a BravoCon joke.
This is escalating into one of the most high-stakes legal messes in Bravo history. I mean, we're talking about 7 counts of insurance fraud, 8 counts of conspiracy insurance fraud, and making a false statement to a police officer.
So 15 charges total, all of them serious.
Incredibly serious. And the allegations are just wild. It all comes from an alleged staged robbery back in April.
And the claim is that they filed about $450,000 in fraudulent insurance claims.
That's the number. And the alleged scheme was that they reported all these high-value items as stolen.
When in reality?
In reality, some of those items had apparently already been returned to the stores for refunds. So they were allegedly trying to get paid out by insurance for things they didn't even own anymore.
Wow. That suggests a really deliberate, detailed plan. Which brings us to this recent court hearing where the prosecution was trying to get access to their financial records.
A huge amount of them. They moved to subpoena 8 full years of financial documents.
8 years? Why so much?
To establish motive. The prosecutor, Melissa Hawkinsmith, stood up in court and made the absolutely staggering claim that the couple have very little money. She argued that their financial turmoil was the whole reason for the alleged crime.
So they're painting a picture of complete financial desperation.
They are. And they argued that because the Osefos are public figures, their finances are a matter of public interest in a fraud case like this. And the specific evidence they presented in that hearing was, it was unbelievable.
This is the part about the credit cards, right?
Yes. Initially, it was reported they found 40 cards. But in court, they updated that number. A total of 67 credit and debit cards.
67? I can't even process that number. What does that even look like?
I have no idea. And these cards were supposedly found inside 4 different luxury wallets, including a Chanel wallet that had been reported stolen in the very robbery they're accused of staging.
Oh, that is not a good fact for the defense. That's a terrible fact.
It's a terrible fact. Right. And it gets worse. The prosecution also alleged that Wendy and Eddie were using fake names.
Aliases.
Yeah, specifically Pam Oliver and Eddie Hennessy, to, in their words, deliberately attempt to mask their identity when ordering packages or making certain transactions.
Okay, so the state case is financial desperation, a ridiculously complex web of credit cards, and the use of aliases to cover their tracks. That is a powerful story to tell a jury. How on earth did the defense respond to that?
Well, their strategy was to focus on privacy and claim the state was on a fishing expedition. They argued the documents were private and that the prosecution was just trying to embarrass them publicly.
They were trying to say it was irrelevant to the charges.
Exactly. Eddie's lawyer said the whole point was just to develop a motive, and he insisted there was no evidence that the Osefos are in financial distress.
And the 67 cards? How do you explain that?
They tried to normalize it. They said, look, a lot of them are expired, or they were just from joint accounts between the two of them.
That feels like a bit of a stretch for 67.
It does. And they completely dismissed the alias claim. They said it was innocent and innocuous, that they just used those names for ordering packages, and that there was no proof of fake names on any actual banking records. They called the state's argument nonsensical.
So it was a total clash of narratives in that courtroom.
Completely. And the crucial moment came when the judge, Richard Titus, had to rule on the subpoena for those 8 years of documents.
And what was the verdict?
Well, he reserved his final ruling for later, but he said in open court that he was inclined to agree with the state's request.
Wow. That's a huge tell.
It's a massive indicator. If the state gets those records, it's a huge victory for them. It could allow them to trace every dollar and really solidify that financial distress motive that is so central to their case.
This whole thing just elevates it so far beyond reality TV drama. It makes Ashley Darby's complaints about authenticity seem almost quaint by comparison.
It really does. Because now we're in the realm of potential prison time, and the real-world consequences are just astronomical.
Okay, let's move 3,000 miles west to a housewife who knows a thing or two about legal pressure and public scandal.
I think she wrote the book on it, Erika Jane.
She recently appeared on Watch What Happens Live and had some incredibly candid takes on the biggest mystery in California right now, the Kyle Richards situation.
And, you know, when Erika gives advice on this stuff, you have to listen. It's coming from a place of very painful, very public experience. And her main piece of advice for the whole RHOBH cast was just 2 words: lay off.
Lay off Kyle. Why?
Because she feels Kyle has given you what she could. She recognizes that Kyle has her limits. And pushing her for more and more detail about the separation isn't going to get them anywhere. It's just going to create more resentment.
That's actually pretty insightful. She's saying, accept the information you've been given and move on.
Exactly. And she had a really interesting theory about Kyle's relationship with Morgan Wade.
The singer, yeah.
She described it as a one-off. She said, I think it's a one-off. She's obviously not strictly dickly.
That is a very Erika Jane phrase.
It is. But her point was that while Kyle might not be exclusively heterosexual, that specific connection with Morgan was about that person at that time in her life. It wasn't necessarily a sign of a permanent redefinition of Kyle's entire identity.
More like a unique, intense connection during a time of major life upheaval.
That's how she sees it. And when Andy Cohen asked her the Brad or Angelina question for Kyle's next partner,
she said Brad, right? Meaning another man.
Immediately.
Brad.
No hesitation. She definitely sees Kyle ending up with a man long term.
But she also had some really sharp advice for Kyle about someone who's not a future partner, but a current one, or an estranged one.
Paul P.K. Kimsley.
Yeah.
Kyle has been defending him a lot this season, and Erika's advice was brutally honest. She just said, you're never going to win that, so don't do it.
That is the voice of experience talking. She learned the hard way that you cannot control the public's opinion of your husband, especially when things go south.
She's basically telling Kyle to save her breath in her public capital. Don't fight a battle you've already lost in the court of public opinion.
And what about Kyle's other husband, Mauricio Umansky, and all the rumors about his whole lifestyle?
Her response to that was a masterclass in dismissal. She just said, it is what it is.
That's it.
That's it. No judgment, no gossip, just an acknowledgement of the reality is what it is.
She saves her real energy for the people on the show. And her assessment of the new cast member, Amanda Francis, was, well, it was something.
It was maybe the most succinct, brutal review in Bravo history. Andy asked for her first impression in 3 words. Erika just said, no, no.
Wow. Just a complete shutdown.
Nothing more needed. That says everything.
Okay, let's pivot to Erika's own life. Because amidst all this ongoing legal stuff, she actually had a positive update on the romance front.
She did. And this feels like a really big deal for her. She confirmed she's dating a man named John McPhee. She called him a very nice person.
And it sounds serious.
It does. She said they've been dating for 6 months and they're planning to spend the holidays together. For someone who has been through what she's been through, to find that kind of stability it's a huge step.
She also put that little rumor about Jesse Solomon to bed pretty quickly.
Yeah, the guy they talked about on the premiere. She just confirmed she hasn't heard a peep from him since she denied the hookup. So that story is over.
But the big story that's not over is her divorce from Tom Girardi. What's the holdup there? It feels like it's been going on forever.
It's because of the legal complexity of Tom's situation. He's under a conservatorship and has been legally deemed incompetent.
So she can't just negotiate a settlement with him?
Not at all. She said she has to ask the conservator for everything. She has to go through this whole bureaucratic court system. Her exact words were, it's just not that easy.
So her ability to finally formally move on with her life is in the hands of a third party appointed by the court.
It's entirely out of her control. And it's just a sobering reminder of the legal entanglement she's still in. When she was asked if she'd ever consider visiting Tom, given his condition.
What did she say?
She said she'd thought about it, but no, she won't. She said it would be too much. And her final word on him was just chilling. She said, he's done. It is what it is.
That is such a definitive final statement. It's a complete psychological break, which she probably needs to survive this.
It feels necessary. She also brushed off that little feud with Luan de Lesseps, who said Erika wasn't very nice at BravoCon.
How'd she handle that?
Total dismissal. She basically said, that's fine. Whatever she wanted to say was cool. You know exactly where I stand. Classic Erika. She doesn't waste energy on these little side battles.
Let's get back to the RHOBH dynamics then. Erika and Sutton Strack, their relationship has been a roller coaster. Where are they now with this truce?
Erika explained it as basically an act of self-preservation. She said she's just in a place where I don't want conflict. After everything she's been through, she said she would much prefer to get along.
So it's more about her own peace of mind than a genuine breakthrough with Sutton.
I think so. But she did offer Sutton some wild advice about her ex-husband, Christian Strack.
Oh, this was incredible. She told Sutton to drop his last name.
Because he had, and I quote, gone so far as to petition the Vatican.
The Vatican? I mean, what does that even mean? Is he trying to get the marriage annulled by the Pope?
That's the implication, right? That he's seeking a Catholic annulment, which essentially erases the marriage in the eyes of the church. It is such a bizarre, high-stakes, almost medieval detail to drop into a conversation about a reality TV show.
It really puts their arguments about, I don't know, table sittings into perspective.
It really does. And when she was asked about the other big truce, the one between Sutton and Dorit Kemsley, she stayed mum.
She wouldn't spoil it.
Nope. Just said, I can't give away the rest of the season. A pro.
And finally, she gave a prediction on who from the cast would get remarried first.
Yeah, this was fun. She thinks it'll be Kyle because she likes being married. But then she gave a little nod to Dorit, saying she has such game and is so good at talking to people.
A little credit to Dorit's social skills. I like that.
It was a nice moment.
Okay, let's leave Beverly Hills and head to the great crossover event itself, BravoCon. This is where we see the hierarchies of the Bravo universe play out in real time.
And this story is a perfect example of that. It involves Dorinda Medley, a RHONY legend, and Sally Carson, who is much newer, from Southern Charm.
And Dorinda was not impressed with Sally's BravoCon etiquette.
Not at all. She was on a radio show with Craig Conover and just came right out and said Sally wasn't that friendly. And she seemed genuinely surprised by it, saying, I'm very friendly to everyone.
Which, in the Bravo world, is a clear shot across the bow. It's an accusation of disrespect.
It is. And the critique went beyond just her attitude. It was about her whole presentation.
The sunglasses.
Sunglasses. Dorinda said Sally was too preoccupied with her look and Instagram and was wearing sunglasses on at 7 at night.
Indoors.
Indoors. Which seems like such a small thing, but apparently it was a huge deal.
A major faux pas.
A huge one. Craig even admitted that the sunglasses bothered a lot of housewives. The show's co-host didn't even know who Sally was, and Dorinda confirmed that the housewives were not having the newbie wearing sunglasses at night.
It's like a uniform violation. But Craig did defend her, didn't he?
He did. He's her castmate. And he said, look, she has always been friendly to me, and I see her as a friend and a sister. He tried to smooth it over.
But the damage was kind of done with the housewives contingent.
It was. But that little drama about eyewear is nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing compared to the social media bomb that Taylor Ann Green dropped on Sally.
Okay, this was next level. This was not a critique. This was a character assassination.
It was. It started when a fan on social media compared Taylor to Sally, and Taylor's response was just scorching.
What did she say?
She wrote that she is not like Sally, because Taylor's is not capable of manipulating a doctor into cheating on his wife.
Whoa. Okay, so that is a very specific, very serious allegation. She's accusing her of breaking up a marriage through manipulation.
And she didn't stop there. She went on to claim that Sally was fully dating someone the entire time they were filming this past season.
So she had a secret off-camera boyfriend.
According to Taylor, yes. And while she was in this supposed serious relationship, Taylor alleges Sally was simultaneously trying to hook up with both Craig Conover and Austin Kroll on camera.
So if that's true, she was juggling a private relationship while manufacturing a storyline with two of the show's main guys.
That is the allegation. It is complete and total destruction of her on-screen persona. And Taylor finished it off with a final swipe at Sally's favorite catchphrase.
A girl's girl thing.
Yep. Taylor basically said, you can't claim to be a girl's girl and then do all of this.
Yeah.
She's just calling out the hypocrisy in the most brutal way possible.
And this is why you don't cross your co-stars on social media. They have the receipts, and they will use them.
Absolutely. The authenticity debate is over when a co-star starts dropping bombs like that.
All right, let's move on to our next marriage under the microscope. We're heading to Orange County, where a ghost from Housewives past, Kelly Dodd, is weighing in on Heather and Terry Dubrow.
And Kelly Dodd is not known for her subtlety. She went on social media and revived some of the longest-running rumors about the Dubrows' marriage.
She used the phrase lavender marriage. Can you just remind everyone what that term means?
It's a historical term for a marriage of convenience, essentially, where a man and a woman get married, but one or both of them are actually gay. The marriage serves as a public cover to protect their careers or social standing.
So to apply that to the Dubrows, whose entire brand is this perfect, wealthy, heterosexual power couple, it's a devastating accusation.
It's designed to be. And Kelly didn't stop there. She flatly claimed Terry is gay and said her source was Terry's best friend, someone named Lisa.
She named a source.
She did. She claimed Lisa. Told me he was gay. His brother was gay. Their whole family is gay. Then she made this really problematic claim that it's hereditary before adding, it's okay.
By naming a supposed inner circle source, she's trying to make it sound like an undeniable fact.
Exactly. And then she tied it all back to Beverly Hills.
To Kyle and Mauricio.
Yep. She wrote that Terry will never satisfy her, just like Kyle Richards, which is a direct callback to that psychic from season 1 of RHOBH who said Mauricio would never emotionally fulfill Kyle.
It's a very potent, very specific kind of attack, suggesting this deep, foundational emptiness in their seemingly perfect life.
Mm-hmm. And these rumors have been around forever. So how have the Dubrows themselves handled this?
Well, they've addressed it before on their podcast. Heather just called it so stupid. She basically said, why would we live like that? Why would we hide that?
Right. The argument being, in this day and age, for a couple as successful as them, what's the point of such an elaborate lie?
And Terry's denial was. It was really something. It was very on brand for him.
It was brilliant. He said, look, if I were gay, I would celebrate it. But then he gave this financial reason why the rumor makes no sense.
I remember this.
He said, I would be a lot wealthier because I would have married a guy who's very, very successful right away, and we don't spend money the way women spend money.
It's such a Dr. Dubrow thing to say. He's using financial logic to debunk a rumor about his sexuality. It's almost performance art.
It is. He's leaning into his persona to fight the rumor.
Yeah.
But the fact that they have to keep addressing it and that a former co-star is still pushing it, it just shows that when you project an image of absolute perfection, people will always be looking for the cracks.
It's the curse of the reality TV ideal. The more perfect you seem, the more people suspect it's all a show.
100%.
Okay, finally, let's wrap up in New Jersey. We have a story about Luis Ruelas and another alleged social media clash.
This is one of those messy, leaked DM situations between a star and a critic. And it shows Leafy not managing his public image very well.
So he was the one who allegedly started it.
It seems so. The exchange starts with Luis allegedly telling the critic to come out from the shadows, loser, and saying their life wasn't superior and exciting like his. It's immediately aggressive.
And how did the critic respond?
By hitting him right where it hurts. They told him he was looking in the mirror, called him a grifter, and asked where he was going to grift now that he might be off the show.
Oof. That's a direct shot at all the financial skepticism that surrounds him.
And Luis just kept engaging, which is always a mistake. He allegedly called the person a freak and wrote Gvlikamau. The critic just kept pointing out that Luis was the one who was obsessed, who kept coming back to the conversation.
And the fan reaction to these leaked DMs was pretty bad, right?
Oh, yeah. People were calling it sketch-aff and embarrassing. The general sentiment was, why is this guy wasting his time fighting with anonymous accounts online? It just makes him look insecure.
And this all comes after that other weird incident, the video of him yelling that he claimed was AI.
That's the context, and it's crucial. Whether that video is real or not, this alleged DM exchange reinforces a public perception of him as unstable and aggressive when he's criticized.
It just fuels the fire. It really seems like an uphill battle for him, image-wise.
It does. Yeah. But, surprisingly, we're going to end the New Jersey segment on an unbelievably positive note. A true Bravo miracle.
The Gorgas and the Giudices.
After years, I mean years, of some of the most bitter, toxic family feuding we have ever seen on television.
Weddings were missed, businesses were ruined.
Screaming matches, legal threats, everything. Joe and Melissa Gorga have confirmed they have officially reconciled with Teresa Giudice and Luis Ruelas.
That is legitimately shocking. What does this mean for the holidays?
They confirmed they were spending Christmas Eve together.
No way.
Yes.
Oh.
Alyssa said everything's good, thank God, and that things are kind of how it should have been. Joe added that life is short, and that with 7 kids between their 2 families, they just had to put an end to it.
Wow. It seems like family actually won out over the reality TV drama, at least for now.
For now is the key phrase. But it's a nice note to end on. And it really brings us full circle, from the demand for authenticity in Potomac to the legal fallout in Beverly Hills, and finally, a fragile peace in New Jersey.
We've covered so much ground, and it all seems to come back to this central theme: the intense pressure these people are under to perform their lives, and the massive cost when that performance is questioned.
It really is. And, you know, if the whole reality TV world values transparency above all else, like Ashley Darby says it does, what does it really mean when a housewife's alleged reality, their finances, their marriage, is in direct conflict with the perfect image they're selling on screen?
That's the billion-dollar question.
And maybe a final thought for you to chew on. If we, the audience, find out that a key part of a storyline was fabricated, like a staged robbery or a fake move, does that invalidate all the drama we watched? Or does that performance itself become the new, complicated reality we're actually consuming?
That is a perfect and very meta final thought to end this deep dive. Thank you for walking us through this absolute whirlwind of reality check.
Anytime. It was a pleasure.
We'll catch you next time for the next deep dive into the headlines you need to know.